the NRP candidates as they amplify your voice. Your voice.
We have nothing on the screen.
This and every Monday, 8:30 to 10 p.m. Join host Stephen Semanas and the NRP candidates as they amplify your voice.
Good evening. Good evening. It's a public holiday in the Federation. It's May Day, but we're working from 8:30 to 10. This is your voice with the NRP and my special guest tonight, J.D. Keynes, the caretaker for Constituency number 1. She's got a lot in store for you tonight. Good evening, J.D.
Good evening, Mr. Manners, and good evening to everyone in Radio Land. It's a pleasure to be here at the studio of 2020 Vision Radio on this another Monday night. If you have not caught on as yet, I am the special guest on Your Voice with the NRP every first Monday of the month, except when there is something special, if we have to make a change to the schedule. But generally, I am the special guest the first Monday of every month. So the next time you'll see me or you'll hear me, for those who are listening only, would be the first Monday in the month of June. God spare our lives. I want to start off as I normally do by just greeting everyone who's tuned to Your Voice with the NRP, and of course encouraging you to call up your friends, your neighbors, your family members, and let them know that Your Voice with the NRP is live on 2020 Vision Radio. I also want you to remember those who may be bereaved at this point in time. But before we get to that, of course, I have to give an extra special shout out to the residents of Nevis 1 St. Paul, Charlestown. So if you're residing in Low Street, Main Street, Happy Hill, Prince William Street, Bath Road, Stony Grove, that's Lower Stony Grove, Ramsbury, Government Road, Pump Road to some extent, Hamilton, Craddock Road, Ramsbury, wherever you reside in the Nevis 1 Charlestown area, you get an extra special greeting from me this evening. Not forgetting our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. We want to always remember you, and we thank you so much because many of you are doing such great work even from a distance. You continue to support our fundraising activities in the form of donations. You continue to offer encouraging words, and I, for one, in Nevis 1, I'm truly appreciative of all that you do. Allow me at this juncture to just remind persons who live in the diaspora who are registered voters in Nevis 1 St. Paul, Charlestown, that we have a WhatsApp chat group exclusively for you. The idea is to keep you updated and informed on what's happening with us in Nevis 1. And so if you have not yet joined that WhatsApp chat group, I am asking you to reach out to me so that I can certainly have you added. We don't want you to be left out. The idea is to keep you must be number one in number one. And so the idea is to keep you updated, hear your ideas and suggestions, and just keep you in the know. We don't only want you when it's time for an election. We want you to stay abreast of what's happening. So be sure to reach out to me so that we can get that going as soon as possible. Mr. Manners, I want to offer condolences to all who may be bereaved at this point in time. I want to extend deepest sympathy to you, and I pray that you find comfort in the fond memories of your loved ones. We know that it's not easy dealing with bereavement, but we are hoping that we can be a source of comfort to you and for you. So please accept my deepest sympathy at this time. Congratulations, of course, are in order to Al.J. Newton, resident of Bath Village, originally from Jessops. He is the son of Joyce Jeffers and Alfred Newton. Joyce Jeffers of Jessops and Alfred Newton of Bath. Alj has recently been promoted to the post of Director of Sports. A young man, very passionate about sports. Many of you may know him as an avid football player, and he was the acting Director of Sports for a little while, and he has since been promoted as the Director of Sports. Alj, again, I want to congratulate you. And I say here, as I indicated on social media, that I stand ready and willing to work with you whenever and wherever possible. For me, it is about moving our island forward in the area of sports, in the area of education, culture, information technology, finance, anything, healthcare, agriculture, housing development, skills development, whatever and wherever I am able to contribute, I stand ready and willing. So I'm eager to work with anyone who is of like mind. Also, I want to congratulate my alma mater, the Charlestown Primary School and the Charlestown Secondary School. They are both celebrating anniversaries. Charlestown Primary School recently celebrated its 33rd anniversary. I am proud to say that I was one of the first students of Charlestown Primary at its current location. I entered in kindergarten. My kindergarten journey started in the Anglican School Hall, but then we moved up to the new location in April of, I think it was 1992, 33 years ago. So we moved up, was that 32 years ago? So we moved up to the current location.
33 years ago, we're celebrating the 33rd
Yes,
anniversary.
yes. So we moved up to this current location when I was in kindergarten. So my classmates and I were the first to experience Charlestown Primary all the way through. And I have a love and passion for that school, continue to do whatever I can, big or small, to help to move the school forward. So congratulations to the staff and students, past teachers, anyone who has been affiliated with Charlestown Primary. We are 33 years strong. The Charlestown Secondary is celebrating its 75th anniversary this year, and they have embarked on a year of activities. We think we're playing? Not at all. Not just a month, not just a week. We are doing a year of activities. And I just want to encourage the general public to lend your support, give generously to the Charlestown Secondary School. Imagine if all of us were to give $75. That will add up. And so I am putting that plug. They didn't ask me, but I am putting that plug out there as a proud alum of the CSS Lions, that I want you to donate.
We've got an early caller, so we'll take that call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Your Voice with the NRP.
Oh, yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
JD, I called because you touched a topic just now that is very dear to me. And I don't like when people perpetuate lies. That issue about Charlestown Primary, and I don't know if you heard about it or somebody tell you or whatever. I
have heard your call for as it relates to the Charlestown Primary School, but I'll give you grace and allow you to share your point of view, and then I'll respond. So go right ahead.
Well, if you know my point, tell me.
I'll give you grace and allow you an opportunity to share what it is you want to say, and then I'll respond.
Okay, what I want to say is that Charlestown Primary did not begin when it went up to Ramsbury. My class was the first to ever graduate from the Charlestown Primary School. And it seems as though they have just omitted us from the group and say, oh, it started when you went up there. But no, you can't start when you went up there. When in 1990 you gave me a certificate saying that I graduated from the Charlestown Primary School. I have my certificate, a bunch of others have the certificate. So when you want to tell me the certificates are no good, okay, I'll wait till you respond.
Okay, thank you very much for weighing in. So the Charlestown Primary School, just like some of the other primary schools on Nevis, have had a new location. And with their new location has come new names, okay? And so if it's a situation where the Charlestown Primary School was previously another name, remember too, the Charlestown Primary School was once the, what's it called, Mr. Manners? You had Ivor Stevens school, we had the girls' school, and we had the boys' school. Are you going to give me a chance to respond?
Charlestown Junior.
Okay. And so the Charlestown Primary School came out of an amalgamation of thought of more than one school, hence the new name. And so prior to it being named the Charlestown Primary School, the other schools had different names. And that is why... You're saying something?
No.
Oh, and that is why the name Charlestown Primary is celebrating 33 years, and particularly at its new location. It got its new name at its new location. It does not mean that students like you and others who attended the school that formed from that now together comprise the Charlestown Primary School does not have any affiliation or any connection to the school. It just means that at the time of your attendance or even at the time of your graduation, the school bore another name. Hence why...
Which is what?
I am not here this evening to answer 21 questions. You raised a point. I allowed you to respond, and I am now responding. I am not respectfully going to be in a back and forth. I am shedding some light on it. You had the opportunity to shed light, and if I am incorrect, you can correct me. But give me an opportunity to speak. And so if it is at any point that you are having a grievance with the process, if you have a grievance, if it's a case where you are trying to get some documents that is a struggle for you, you can reach out to me and I can try my best to help you. But what I will not do respectfully this evening is being a back and forth about something as simple as a school celebrating its 33rd anniversary. Allow me to speak, please. As a school celebrating its 33rd anniversary and me partaking in the activities. But if you do require any assistance whatsoever about, getting any assistance with documents passed, I will be so happy to facilitate you. That's where I would leave the discussion. You can continue to speak, but that's the crux of my response as it relates to that. Okay. I have a lot of passionate topics to talk about.
Before you go on, right? Yes, just one question you could answer when I go after you. You said the school had a different name when I left. When I tell you that I have my certificate saying Charlestown Primary. Okay.
Okay, that's it. Caller? I think we lost the caller.
He left. Okay. All right. So again, I just want to share that if you are having a difficulty, I hear your comment. What I didn't hear was what the challenge is in terms of why it's an issue for you. And so if it is that you're having a difficult time and I can help you in any way, I will be happy to do so. But we can't spend all night debating a matter. I am only hoping that you will challenge the government as you have challenged me. And I'm not afraid of the challenge, but challenge the government. The government is the one that's responsible. I stand ready to assist you, and I hope you're listening to the rest of the program and not being selective. Yes, Mr. Manners.
Yes, go right ahead then.
All right, so I wanted to update you on some activities that I have been involved in, or some appearances rather, that I have made since the last show. So I told you earlier that I appear here on 2020 Vision the first Monday for the most part of every month. So since that, I continue the house-to-house visits in Charlestown, and that is something that is near and dear to me. Sometimes people say, I haven't seen you in a while. That's because I have not reached to you, but someone else is seeing me. So don't feel anyway. I'm coming to you. I just haven't gotten to you yet. But I also want to remind you that I am actually pleased that you expect to see me. I am pleased that I've set that standard that you are expecting to see me because you're accustomed to see me. So if you don't, see me for a while. You're worried, you're concerned, and you're holding me accountable. So I thank you for that. But it just means that I haven't gotten to you yet, but I'm definitely at other people's doorsteps. So I continue the house to house, or let me not say I. Let me restructure that. We continue the house to house visits because it's not myself alone. I'm part of a team in St. Paul, and we continue to do our house to house visits. I also want to mention that I was part of a joint walkthrough with the party. So in March, we did a walkthrough in Westbury Fountain area. Ended up just about kids be there about. And in April, on the 9th, if I'm not mistaken, or the 7th, I think it's the 9th, could be wrong, we did a walk of the Craddock Road area. And so, Craddock Road is that boundary that connects St. Paul and St. Thomas. And we did a walk through of that area. We had the full slate, the full team as it is right now, along with some additional supporters and friends of the Nevis Reformation Party. It was very engaging. It was good to, just greet some of the persons there. Some of them are not so familiar with our party leader, for example, and so they were so excited to see her and welcome her with open arms in that constituency or those constituencies, because as I mentioned, that's a borderline right there. And so that was pleasing. They know Rohan Isles as the caretaker for St. Thomas's, so those on that side. And who didn't know him because they recently moved, I was happy to introduce them to him. They know Dr. Patricia Bartlett because she was once the federal candidate in this area as well. And it was just great to have my people, our people, seeing us in the area, getting the full team. And so we thank you for the usual warm welcome. So that was pretty good. That same evening, I attended this Charlestown Secondary School Art Showcase. And with that, it was, nothing short of magnificent. We had Ashira Hanley, my good cousin, and others really leading the charge as it relates to the CSS Art Showcase in honor of the school's 75th anniversary. And so that was really a splendid event. I posted about it on social media. And by the way, for those of you who are not yet following me on social media, I encourage you to do so. I am JDJAEDEESK Keynes on Facebook. So please follow me. I continue to provide updates through that medium, and it's quite active. So I encourage you to follow me there on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm on all of the social media handles, or most of the social media handles, but Facebook really has quite a bit of updates. So I posted about it. I was very impressed with the work of the staff and students of Charlestown Secondary. Then in April, Mr. Manners, we had a birthday celebration. Hey! And so I celebrated another milestone, and I had a wonderful time. Probably the best in recent years.
Wow.
I really had a good time. I took some time for myself. I don't do that a lot, believe it or not. I'm always in mommy mode and caretaker candidate mode and every other mode. But I was in full JD mode, for the Easter weekend. And so I went across to St. Eustatius. I had a fantastic time. And so I did what a lot of people do. You do the three islands in one. So you touch a little bit of everything. Yes, that was the goal that weekend. And what a reception I received. And one of the things I like to do when I travel, I like to travel. And one of the things I like to do when I travel is take notes, because I want to see if this can be beneficial on the island of Nevis, how it can be beneficial, and who are the people I need to speak to ensure that if we take this on stream, or when we take this on stream, that we don't waste time in certain areas and we don't waste money. That's very important to me. When you're spending people money, I try to be very, very careful. And so that's one of the things I pride myself on. So I'm always looking for ideas and opportunities that we can adapt here on the island of Nevis to either enhance what we have going or bring something new to the table. And this trip was no different. Even though it was intended for me, a lot of relaxation, for me, for my birthday, I relish the opportunity to do that. And so, although a small island, I learned so much about St. Eustatius. This was my second time. The first time I was there was a quick trip. I went to judge a pageant, and so I went in one day and I was back out I went in one day. The pageant was the night, yes, I'm right, and then I was out by the next day. So it was quick, didn't really get to do much. And I'm also not a fan of the boats because I get motion sickness. But this time, let me tell you, it was amazing. It was amazing. My best friend told me, you're going. You need to do something for yourself, and you're going to take all the Dramamine you need to take. And I took her advice, and it really worked. I had a good time. And so while there, I was able to meet a dynamic, when I tell you dynamic, a dynamic lady in the person of Alida Francis. She's the island governor of St. Eustatius. And although our encounter was somewhat brief, it was very fruitful. And she was celebrating as well. Her birthday is just 1 week prior to mine, and so we were able to chit chat, and I learned a lot about St. Eustatius also just from the people there, because they had, although it's a small island, they had quite a bit of action the Easter weekend. And what I really was stunned by is the level of community spirit, and I want to see Nevis get back to that, where it's everybody working with everybody, everybody supporting everybody, everybody trying to hustle, everybody making a dollar. And you go here by this person and you don't stay there, you move on and you go to this next person and you just want to support them, you want to contribute to their cause. That for me was heartwarming. And to see people coming together at Easter time and engaging in a lot of what they normally do, and eating the traditional foods, and I mean, and the food was good,
Mm-hmm.
The food was good. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really enjoyed that. Additionally, I know they are Dutch country, and so they are heavily island, and so they are heavily supported by the Dutch government. But it was still pleasing to learn of some of the initiatives that they have undertaken there in St. Eustatius in terms of skills training and education in general, to ensure that people aren't left behind. And it reminded me of a time when the NRP was in government, when we took skills training very seriously. And I continue to praise the work of Hensley Daniel in particular, of course Honorable Joseph Parry and his team, but Hensley Daniel worked diligently and feverishly in the area of skills development, Mr. Manners. And when I hear that the government continues to offer these opportunities where they give the young men and women an opportunity to go abroad, you study for a certain period, you get your certificate, you get your official certificate of training, or of completion rather, in a particular area. They pay you while you are there. So they encourage you to go, they fund you going, and they give you a stipend while you are there. And when you come back, they help to set you up. I mean, I long for that in Nevis. Not that we want a situation where people are putting their hands out and continue to beg. That's not what I'm saying. But I believe that when you invest in your most critical and most important asset, which is your human resource, you can only reap benefits. And so that's one of the things that I was particularly impressed with or by, and I would love to see mirrored on the island of Nevis. All right, Mr. Manners, so that had to do with the birthday weekend. Oh, I mentioned St. Eustatius, of course. You touched on Sabre, touched on St. Martin, so all of that. There's some persons who tried to reach me over the last week and a half. I'm getting to you. I had so much fun, I came back without a phone. So much fun, I came back without a phone. The phone was one place and I was another. But I have since gotten that rectified, and so my responses are coming. Mr. Manners, would you believe me? I mean, it was over 600. It was over 600 messages. Yes, it was over 600 messages. So I am coming to everyone. I'm really trying. So for those who missed the announcement, because I did make a post on social media saying I'm temporarily unavailable via phone. So I thank you for, just indulging me. All right. Then on the 27th of April, I attended the Parish Relay Championship.
You attended? Come on. Well, okay. Over to you.
My attendance was threefold.
Okay.
Okay. I was doing triple duty. So, one, I went because I was a work sponsor. So the institution that I work for sponsored one of the teams, and so I was there in that capacity. So I had multiple shirts because I had to be dressed in the sponsorship shirt to get the photo with the team that we sponsored, because I do marketing and education. So I did that. So that was part one. Part two, I was there as a supportive parent because my daughter was one of the athletes who participated, and of course they did well, and I'm proud of her, continue to be proud of her. And so I was there as a supportive parent. But guess what? I was also there as one of the participating athletes, Mr. Manor.
I saw that.
I saw that. And so, for me, it was fun, and I like to lead by example. And I hear the calls of the teachers and the coaches to get young people with the potential and with the ability to come out and participate, do what they are good at. And so I said, listen, if J.D. Keynes, who never proclaimed or protested or anything to be an athlete, was able to do it, surely I'm hoping that you can be motivated to do it as well. And so that was the aim. But I had a wonderful time. I mean, even with no training and even with our little slip-ups here and there, I had a great time. And as my daughter said, Mommy, that was you this year. Imagine when they see you next year when you're slim and trim. And so, it was fun. It was really fun, and I'm happy that I participated. It was good, clean fun. So kudos to the organizers on that. That was the 27th. And as we wind down the activities since the last show, I just want to commend again my brother Rohan Isles for his wonderful town hall. I think it was last week. It was the 30th of April. So that was last week.
Wednesday.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I was able to be there and lend my support to Rohan at his town hall. I know it was intended for the people of St. Thomas, particularly of Cotton Ground, and yes, they came out. But I just wanted to have that show of support. And one of the things I spoke of at that town hall, not as a featured speaker, but I wanted to weigh in the conversation part of it, was the importance of a balanced ticket. What do I mean by that? Well, I am saying to the people, or I said to the people of St. Thomas, is that when you vote on election day, we want you to vote for Rohan Isles. But we also want you and others to vote for the NRP. And what do I mean by that? You have to look at the ticket, meaning the ticket that the NRP is presenting to you. All 5 candidates that the NRP will present to you, and determine if these candidates are the best suited to represent Nevis. Because you see, we all have strengths. We all have some weaknesses, but together we are unstoppable. You need a ticket. You need, and when I say ticket, I'm referring to the slate of candidates. You need a ticket that can complement each other. It's all well and good to have someone who you like. They're likable. They're your friend on the ticket, and you vote for them because of that. But if that person's strength is, let's say, agriculture, and everyone else on that ticket strength is agriculture and agriculture alone, it means we will have good things in agriculture, but what about the other areas? Was there a call?
Yes, let's facilitate that caller. Good evening. Welcome to Your Voice with J.D. Keynes. Caller? I'm not hearing that caller. I don't know what's the matter there.
Caller, if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Caller?
Okay.
Okay, I think we probably have a bad connection there.
Feel free to call back if you want to weigh in on the conversation. We'll try to facilitate you. All right. So as I was saying, it's important to have a balanced ticket. You want people who can complement each other, because when we get in there, yes, we are going to be parliamentary representatives for specific areas, and that is primary. However, we are also expected to be ministers of government with portfolios, and you want people in there who are able to execute in their various ministries, and you want varying talents, varying skills. And I think that when you look at the slate of candidates that the NRP has already, we represent the best choice. And that is why you find that when an NRP government is in office, you have a cross-sectoral approach. Everybody benefits. Whereas under this current dispensation, what is happening is that some areas are hemorrhaging. And that is what we don't want going forward. So I took some time to speak about the importance of having a balanced ticket and trying to encourage our people to be part of that. You want to ensure that you contribute to the best possible government for Nevis. Okay? All right. So that was on the 30th of April in Cotton Ground. What else have I been up to, Mr. Manners? Well, I can tell you that I continue to do my weekly tutoring. For those who do not know, outside of my already busy schedule, I tutor students in the area of language arts, and that is something that I continue to do on weekends. And then today, a public holiday, I hosted a communication boot camp. I don't know how many of you are aware. You should be aware by now that communication is a passion of mine. It's my forte. It's what I received formal training in. And so today I hosted a boot camp for persons to participate in and try to enhance their communication skills. We had it in two parts, public speaking as well as interviews. So to those who contributed or participated in any way, I say thank you. Some persons shared the flyer. Some persons encouraged their friends and family members to partake. I want to thank you so much for that. I appreciate it greatly. So, Mr. Banners, I'll pause here. Those are the activities that I've been involved in since the last appearance, at least the major ones I wanted to share. And then I want to speak, of course, about some activities that are coming up and then some big ticket items.
All right, so we're at the top of the hour, 3 minutes after 9. So let's hear Owen Isles with the intro for Your Voice with the NRP.
Your Voice with the NRP. This and every Monday, 8:30 to 10 p.m. Join host Stephen Semanas and the NRP candidates as they amplify your voice.
Reminding you of our numbers, 469-7953, 766-7312, and 669-7312. Let's do this.
Best wishes and all the day through. May your days be cloudless and clear, bringing to you true happiness each day and night of the year. She's my mother, and I love her so. Yes, I do. More than any other. Anywhere I go.
Yep, Jimmy Cliff, dear mother. And of course, mothers are the foundation of the family, cornerstone of the society, and of course the hardest working people in the NRP organization. And of course, Sunday is Mother's Day, and so the NRP got big things to go on. But J.D. Keynes, never short of ideas, last weekend also launched a very exciting competition. I've been following it and getting a little jealous of all the lovely pictures there. So, JD, fill us in on what you're doing, all the good things you're doing. Very exciting idea.
Mr. Ballas, thank you so much for that. You know, I love the passion of the fathers, because I've had a few fathers reach out to me. One father sent me a picture of himself and his children and said he wants to enter the competition. And I said to him, but it's for mothers. He said, well, I'm a mother too, because basically he's saying, I feel left out. I want to be part of it. I love my role as a parent, and so I want to ensure that I'm part of it. But then I ended up telling him, who knows, something might be in store for Father's Day. And then he went on to share with me a photo of his wife and their beautiful children. Another father sent me a picture of himself and his daughter and said, can you please Photoshop a wig on me and post this for
You're joking. You're joking.
Man, it has been hilarious. So I'm really happy to see that the fathers are paying attention and they want something similar. So, kudos to them. But as it relates to the specific idea that Mr. Manners is referring to, on Saturday or Friday evening, I think it was Friday evening, I launched what is called a mother-child lookalike contest. So it's a social media competition just for fun, where I encourage mothers and their children, it could be boys, it could be girls, it doesn't matter, to send in photos if they think that they look like their parents. Children, if you think that your mother looks like you or you look like your mother, and the mother, if you think that your son or daughter or sons and daughters look like you share your photos. And the response has been exceptional to date. And people are doing it just for fun. And what was funny is that on the poster, I have a photo of myself and my daughter. And to me, I chose the closest resembling photo. But people were teasing me and saying, JD, that is not a good example of a mother-child lookalike. Because, they tease me all the time. The child looks like everybody except her mother. But she behaves like her mother. But anyway, people get the gist of it. And people have been sending in their photos. And it's not too late for you to do so. You send in your photos, you can send them to my WhatsApp, you can send them to me on social media, you can send them to me in email, and along with the name of the mother and child or mother and children, and I post it to social media and share it as much as possible, and persons can then go on and vote. Persons can then go on and vote for the mother-child lookalike of their choice. You choose the duo or trio that you think look most alike. Okay, that's the aim of the competition. And once you do that, the photo will be posted, and the photo with the most likes wins. So I am not part of the judging. It's for fun. I want you to judge. Be honest. Choose the ones that you think look most alike, and the winner gets breakfast for two at the Four Seasons Resort.
The prestigious.
I mean, what a prize! And guess what? One or two persons asked me if they can go on Mother's Day, sure, or if they can go later, that's fine too. So once you've won the competition, then we'll arrange when you want to go. The prize is yours, so you can go at your convenience, but of course, I'm funding it, so we coordinate that part. What I'm also doing is arranging some special prizes for second and third place, because with such overwhelming responses, we want to ensure that others aren't left out. And so we are trying to, we have come up with some prizes for second and third, or we are in the process of doing that. And I just wanted to share that. Also, you must reside on Nevis. Persons from St. Kitts have been reaching out to me, Mr. Matters. And I didn't anticipate that. So I didn't even factor that, but I did say must reside on Nevis. No disrespect to my lovely mothers over on St. Kitts, and I'm happy that you want to be a part of it, but this is something that I wanted to do specifically for the people of Nevis. So, perhaps next time you can be a part of it, but for this one, I wanted it to be to Nevis, and I'm so happy. I'm actually so humbled that you reached out and wanted to be part of it. And the thing that everyone says, oh, this looks like fun, can we join? I like that they recognize that it's fun. Additionally, it's important to note that the announcement or the competition ends on the 9th of May. So you have to get your photos in so that they can get as much shares and likes as possible by the 9th of May. Okay? Because when I cut off at some point on the 9th of May, that would be it. So that's very, very important. So yeah, that's basically it, Mr. Manners. Just in time for Mother's Day, we have the mother-child lookalike contest.
I find it very exciting, and going to your page and other people's pages to see the lovely photos that
Yeah.
are being posted. Those were the guys. Tickle my fancy a little
Yes,
bit.
because imagine, I mean, that had me too. You know, traditionally, and I didn't say mother-daughter because I didn't want it to be mother-daughter. I wanted it to be mother-child. But I was stunned when I realized how much some of the guys look like their mothers. I was actually stunned. Because, you know, I don't know. I see girls looking like their fathers, but, you know, when I realized how many of these boys look like their mothers, I was stunned. Devon is one.
Yeah,
Devon
yeah.
is in the competition. I'm sure Devon didn't even know he's in the competition. Devon's mother sent it in because she knows that she and her sons look just alike. So she sent in one with herself and Devon.
And Warren from
Warren,
Fountain
yes,
Mount
yes.
Lizzie
He
area.
sent in his. What was funny was a mother sent me a photo of herself and her child. And 2 minutes later, the child contacted me and asked if she could be in the competition. So is your name so and so? And she said, yes. I said, your mother beat you to it. She said, you got to be kidding. So these mothers are sending in the photos and the children don't even know. And the reverse is true. But it's all fun. It's all fun.
I saw one mother who I know, who will remain nameless, who has 3 daughters, and posted her oldest daughter with her oldest daughter. I'm looking for the other 2 as well. Because,
Maybe
you know,
that's the one that looks like her.
well, I think they all look like her.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
But you never know.
You never
You
know.
never know. But a very exciting competition, and
Yes.
I'm looking forward to the outcome. And I'm sure on
The 9th of
the
May.
9th, which is Friday,
Yes.
you're going to be posting the winners.
I'll try to go down as far as I can on Friday to allow persons to maximize, but then I'll post the winners. And people would be able to track anyways because it's public. The likes are public. It's for the general public to be a part of. You know, I don't have any say in the process.
And that's J.D. Keynes, the innovator, right?
I try.
And the party has a function on Sunday as well. For
Yes.
mothers.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get in some hot topics just now, but I can't not tell you about our annual lunch and leisure activity that's coming up on the 11th of May, Mother's Day. Tickets are currently on sale. If you want a ticket, just call me, call anybody. We will get you a ticket, okay? And so the tickets are $100. They are all inclusive. That covers food, drink, entertainment, everything. So that's the cost for adults. And then for children, and in this case, we are considering a child ticket from the age 15, if I'm not mistaken, and downward and younger. And so the child ticket has a lesser price, and we just want as many of you as possible to come out and enjoy Mother's Day. It's important to note, though, that the children tickets are limited, and so it's very important to get your tickets. Do not wait until the last minute. I find that has happened in the past where people wait until the last minute to try to secure the tickets, and sometimes we are sold out or we are almost sold out, and we don't want that. It's going to be a wonderful evening. This year we are doing a garden floral type theme, and so we want you to come dressed. You can have flowers in your hair, you can wear a flower, you can have an outfit that has floral print, whatever you want to do. And if you don't have any of those, we won't send you back. Come, you're going to have a wonderful time at the Occasions Entertainment Center. An afternoon of class, an afternoon uplifting mothers and making mothers feel special. And one of the things that's excellent about this lunch and leisure activity that we have on an annual basis is that everybody leaves with something. And I'm not talking about a full belly. You leave with that too, but you must leave with something tangible, courtesy the Nevis Reformation Party and all of its friends.
Okay, well, now we're going to switch gears a bit, and we're going to go into some bread and butter issues, issues affecting the lives of Nevisians and residents. Of course, the Premier has been shifting the story on the Alexandria Hospital every occasion he gets.
Oh, tell me about it.
At his last press conference, he said that we now have the report. The cabinet is looking at the figures, and we'll get back to you. Dr. Pat Bartlett told me at the start of the year not a thing going to happen this year. She is convinced, and so we're going to be holding this government accountable. The Minister of Health, I don't know if she's back. The Premier did say at his press conference she is overseas on official business, but I learned that through a federal release that she is traveling with Iceline Phillip. So she went to Taiwan. As I said, I don't know if she's back. But we're going to be watching the hospital very, very carefully, very, very closely, because this month of May, May 31st, will mark 8 years since the start of construction. And I raised this on previous programs, so I'll put this in right now, because since we're in competition moods and all of that, at the end of May, early June, I'm going to have a special prize for a winner. I've said previously that the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France, took 2 years, 2 months, and 5 days to construct in 1889. And that was to mark the centennial anniversary of the French Revolution. The Eiffel Tower is 330 meters tall, about the same height as an 81-story building, and it's taller than the Washington Monument. JD, you know the Washington Monument
Yes.
very closely. The hospital has been ongoing for 8 years and never ending. Sometime in the coming months, the hospital would have quadrupled the amount of time that the Eiffel Tower took to construct.
Crazy.
2 years, 2 months, and 5 days. So I want you to start to do the maths. When will be 4 times that? And you will give me the date. Not now, it will be in June, when the construction of, or the deconstruction of the Alexandra Hospital would have quadrupled the amount of time that it took to build the Eiffel Tower. And through this, we will learn a lot about Brantley and Brand's Department of Government Deficiency.
And Mr. Manners, you mentioned at the start of addressing this topic that the Minister of Health may be overseas. You're not sure.
Well, she is. I saw the reports coming out of the federal government. Joyce Movin is there. Forbes, who also works at the NIPA, I think it is.
So when I say maybe, I meant because you said you're not sure if she's back.
Yes, but she's traveling and she went to Taiwan.
Okay, yes. So you indicated that the Minister of Health traveled to Taiwan. And I try to keep my composure, because whether the Minister of Health is in Taiwan or Nevis, it makes no difference. We are not seeing anything in the area of healthcare. And, you know, I can't even be vexed with the Minister of Health. You know why? Because I want you to show me the person who is surprised at the non-performance. I'm not, because health is a very, very heavy ministry. And I think that the Ministry of Health was given to the current minister just so that we can say that somebody has the Ministry of Health. Because the Premier was once the senior minister responsible for health, and he did nothing. He did nothing. Imagine, you were the senior minister of health. You are the Premier currently. You hold the bag. You're the Minister of Finance. You are the chief cook and bottle washer, and you couldn't deliver. You still can't deliver. But you put the poor sacrificial lamb in the person of the Minister of Health to take all the word, get all the complaints. And I mean, that's why I personally don't even blame her, because she is basically acting based on instructions given or lack thereof. So I don't even blame her. That's why I really don't even get involved in certain things. I just leave it alone, because I'm not surprised by the non-performance. I'm not surprised by the non-performance. And I know, though, I wasn't going to let anybody use me. I know that that was not going to be the case. And so we have to understand that the young lady is performing based on her potential, based on her capacity to perform in that area. The senior minister on the island of Nevis, the lead minister on the island of Nevis, who is the Premier, could not do it. And so he put the least experienced to do it. And don't the people of Nevis feel offended by this? It's like a slap in the face. Let's just put the good lady there and let her take all the word. That's not nice. That's not nice. So I am encouraging you, the good Minister of Health. I know that you have a special set of skills in other areas. So feel free to abort where you are and come over here. I will look out for you. Don't worry about that. But still on the issue of healthcare, Mr. Manners, I want to let you know there's so much more that is not happening, you know. We continue to talk day in, day out about the Alexandra Hospital and the fact that it has not yet been completed. It's nowhere even near completion in terms of the expansion project. We continue to talk about that. I've come right here on 2020 Visions, Your Voice, and shared with you a timeline. Others have done the same. Shared with you timelines and press releases about major announcements having to do with the Alexandra Hospital and nothing. But do you know that also in the area of healthcare, we have a situation where there are health centers with no generators? I can assure you that at least the Charlestown and Gingerland health centers, which are the two biggest, don't have generators. What does that mean? It means that if they have vaccines, they store them in the refrigerator. But in the event that there's a power outage, and you know we have quite a bit of that on the island of Nevis, the vaccines become spoiled and they have to discard them, costing the people of Nevis, the government of Nevis, more money.
Let's see if we can take this. Hope that phone is working. Good evening, caller.
Yes, good evening. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
Good
Speak
evening.
up. Speak up a bit, please.
Yeah, my concern about healthcare in Nevis is, I'm very much concerned, both in healthcare and in agriculture. I think them two ministries are supposed to be the most important ministries in any government. And the people who are running the ministry, especially of health, they don't really care. I can remember years ago, it was said, years back, you had two patients, at least two I know about, that traveled to Anguilla for what's it again, kidney
Dialysis.
dialysis, that's right. And there's a certain person that travels on the flight with them. So the person is the one who commented, say, he traveled with them on the plane. And they have to do it. At time he has some company, some law company, something like that, affiliation with Anguilla. So he travels with them very often, and he realized that they don't travel very often. He gets into now. Before that, the NRP government decided, look, we want to see if you could solve this problem and see if you could get the people in, instead of going all the way to Anguilla. They went and bought a dialysis unit to ease the burden, the extra money and the long distance that they have to go. NRP didn't buy the dialysis unit for NRP, you know?
Correct.
The unit was bought for the people of Nevis that will need it from time to time. And so he became the minister. But before that, there was a situation where the people them said they wanted to they want some kind of money. I think it was $5,000 more for freight. And when he became the minister, and he said he's not going to send the money. And then you have a situation again where you have some volunteers came from America to do kidney screening, and the minister said then that he would not sanction it, and if they were to do it again, he would never sanction it. So all these things make me wonder, what kind of interest these people here in government have concerning the health of the people of Nevis. And then you have a situation when the former Minister of Health, she was under tremendous pressure because she was looking out for the best interest of the people's health in need. And she just couldn't get what she needed to, to help people, sick people and so on. Couldn't get the help that she needed so much so that she had to resign. Okay? And then you have the situation here more recently where you couldn't handle it, man. You couldn't handle it. But yet still you're going to get somebody who doesn't even have a nursing experience. I'm going to put the person in charge of health. Man, everybody in Nevis should have been talking about that. Honestly. She doesn't know anything. I can't blame the lady, in a sense. But just to show you the way they look at health care in Nevis. They make mistakes, we have to pay for it. So let me tell you how. There's a problem with the hospital, they can't get it going. But yet still, taxpayers are paying more for medical care at the hospital. So they make a mistake, the taxpayers have to be paying for it. That's not good, man. That's not good. We need better people who care about the health care of people in Nevis. There's a saying that goes, a healthy nation is a wealthy nation.
Is a wealthy nation, yes.
These are things that people need to look at and talk about.
I agree with you. Mm-hmm.
They just don't care. The authorities don't care. And I always believe that there is one person in India, to my opinion, and I always refer to him as a God-fearing person. He should be more talk, man. He should talk out more. I mean, probably would make some mistakes and so on. But it comes a time when people are balling out, nothing happening.
Well,
the situation, I don't know if they replace the permanent secretary in the Ministry of the other ministry there with
agriculture, you mean? Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if they appoint anybody in there. That's an important ministry, especially in these days when over there we have to be importing so many goods. What happened to the chicken farm, the chicken
poultry
farm?
Yeah.
All these things need to be addressed. I like the idea of the chicken farm because what it does is help to slow down the importation. It reduces the importation of goods coming in so that we can self-feed ourselves some more.
Well, caller, you are definitely on the money this evening. You have quite a bit, and perhaps it would be good if we can get some of what he's saying really dissected for the people to understand, because, it's one thing when we say it, but when people like you call in and you weigh in, I think it's very, very important. And I want to challenge you, caller, as you are not afraid to call in and share your views. Continue to do that. Do that in your neighborhoods, do that in your villages, and encourage people to really recognize what's happening and understand what's happening, because I think a lot of our people are misinformed. We have a government that continues to deceive the people of Nevis, and when they hear from someone of your stature, someone who understands how things work, I think that can only be beneficial to all of us. So I want to encourage you to really do that.
Well, I always try to tell people, to remind people that this country belongs to us, not the politicians. They come and they go.
Correct.
But the country belongs to us.
Correct.
And our children and children. So we are the ones who are here that should be mindful of what is happening. Or what should happen in the country that is not happening.
Okay. Yes,
Thank
definitely.
you so much.
Thank you, caller. And, the caller said that people are not talking. And we know that is something we talk about in Nevis all the time. People are very, very quiet on some issues. Let's take this, and then I'll get back to the point I wanted to make there. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Your Voice.
Good evening, Steve, and good evening, candidate JD. And I think I can say Minister JD,
You can.
in anticipation of things to come.
All right, sounds good.
Now, just two things very quickly, Steve and JD. One is today is Labor Day. I just want to make the point that Nevis is the only island in the Caribbean without trade unions. So, in 1980, just a few months after the NRP took government with the People's Action Movement, we established a Department of Labor in Nevis to protect workers' rights, and the person who headed that department was Hastings Daniel. So to say that the party has a history of ensuring and making efforts to protect the workers in the country and to provide for them. That's important for our history, because sometimes we think that history began yesterday or last week.
Yes.
And secondly, JD, given the state of affairs and what's happening in the country, could you share two priority areas for your constituents? Because they must be listening and must be well want vote for you. But they must be wanting to hear something that you will do for them. And based on your interaction with them, I'm sure you would have heard some of the things to say. So first, what are some of the things people are telling you that they have concerns about?
Sure.
And part B is, what are some of the things you think you can do for them very quickly so that they too will quickly go and vote for you?
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, caller.
Yes, so I'm happy that you asked that, because the concerns that we continue to get when we do our house visits have to do a lot with housing, for example. People are complaining a lot about the fact that the housing corporation is no longer making the affordable houses affordable. And I think the policy direction must come from the top. The intent of the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation is to assist persons with land ownership, and I'm paraphrasing, is to assist persons with land and home ownership. Okay? And if it's a situation where persons aren't able to afford land and or houses through the housing corporation, which really should be at a discounted rates when you compare in comparison to, the regular art of home construction or land purchase, then we're in a serious situation, Mr. Manners. And so that continues to be the cry of people, particularly in St. Paul's. Additionally, job creation. And the people of St. Paul's are innovative. You said I'm innovative and creative. The people in St. Paul's are just as innovative, in some cases even more innovative and creative. And so they don't want to just sit down and work for somebody all the days of their life. They want to be able to establish small businesses. And so what they have been asking for is something to help push that. And I have told them any government that I am a part of will see the people of St. Paul's receiving, quote unquote, their fair share, not the fair share that we've grown accustomed to under this current administration, this dispensation. But we want to see the people of St. Paul being recognized just as the people of the other constituencies. If I am coming out there and asking the people of St. Paul to give me an opportunity, give me a chance, I have to go out there and fight for them. And I am prepared, I am ready, and I am willing to do so. So looking at housing and home ownership, that continues to be a priority based on the feedback that I have been getting from the people, and also an injection in terms of the development of their small and medium-sized businesses, Mr. Manners and caller. Additionally, what am I prepared to do? Well, in addition to what I mentioned already in terms of going out there and lobbying for the people of St. Paul in particular, and the people of Nevis more generally, I am saying that the area of St. Paul must see meaningful development. So when you talk about our sporting facilities, and we have quite a few in St. Paul, and our ability to function effectively as a community with the construction or opening of a community center, those things I think are not far-fetched. Those things I think are within reach, and those things I believe are certainly owing to the people of Nevis 1 St. Paul. We have to be the only constituency that doesn't have a single community center or a facility that can accommodate something similar to that even in the interim, and that cannot continue. So as it relates to St. Paul, these just represent a snapshot of what I am prepared to do for my good people.
Okay, now the caller before the last one spoke about the state of health care. And then, of course, the former minister called in. And, of course, in 2013, that caller, who was the Minister of Health under the Joseph Parry-led administration, brought dialysis machines to Nevis. And the previous caller said that people in Nevis are not talking about these issues. One such person who has been talking is Maclean Hobson, originally from Butler's Village, but now resides in St. Kitts. And he spoke about what was allowed to happen under the Mark Brantley administration with dialysis care. And I want to read a little bit of his Facebook post into the record. Clearly, this inhumane step was taken without any compassion for the dialysis patients and consideration for the fact that government is continuous. It also appears to have been intended to prevent the outgoing NRP government from scoring political mileage. To provide access now to dialysis in Nevis, the NIA might just be thinking that the move will generate political backlash and provide political ammunition for the opposition. This situation has become so politicized, not even the subsequent donation from the Taiwanese ambassador towards the purchase of dialysis machines was enough to change the NIA's position. Meanwhile, the dialysis patients get caught in the middle and unfortunately have to endure the agony of traveling weekly by sea to St. Kitts to be dialyzed at Jean France Hospital. This journey is not only tiring, but highly stressful on the bodies of these patients. Added to this, when the seas rough and the hurricanes are approaching, dialysis patients cannot travel to St. Kitts for treatment, and inevitably their conditions are likely to go downhill. Honorable Premier, damn if you do, and damn if you don't. Ignore all, and as a matter of urgency, put the dialysis machines in place at the Alexandria Hospital for the sake of easing the pain of all dialysis patients in Nevis. This dialysis fiasco should be an albatross around the neck of the Mark Brantley administration.
Correct.
And of course, we have lost so many people.
Yes.
Of course,
Yes.
Kenny, talented musician from Overbath, and the most recent, of course, a good friend of the Premier, Fitzroy Warner, who passed away not so long ago. I learned only this week that my good friend Adela Mead is also one of the patients being dialyzed. And so this discomfort of Nevisians has been going on since 2013. That's 12 years, over a decade. And if we're to judge by the way this hospital is going, it may be another 10. Of course, unless there's an NRP government in place.
You know, it bothers me because, yes, we know, none of us know the day or the hour when someone will be called home. But it's really heartbreaking to know that we had the opportunity to help persons, and in the name of politics, and that's what we have to call it. We have to call a spade a spade. In the name of politics, we have allowed this situation to escalate. Now look at where we are. So many persons are receiving dialysis treatment. I have a very close friend, like a brother, who's receiving dialysis treatment, and so it hits home. It really hits home. And so I I am just pleading with the people of Nevis to understand that we are not going to get anything different or anything better from this government. They have been in power for so long, as somebody commented on the Facebook Live, they said since Jesus was a boy, they've been in government and they have not been doing anything. So what do you think you're going to get if you continue to put them in? They're going to continue to be comfortable and they will perform even less. And so that is why we got to wake up. And on the issue of health care, I was telling you that, it's so much that is not happening, I told you that there are no generators at some of the health centers. And so this means that there is no proper storage for vaccines and certain medicines. And that is not good, Mr. Manners. We are going backward. Imagine if there is no generator at Charlestown and Gingerland, for sure. I can't speak to the others, but I know for a fact not at those facilities, because I've been there and I've had to ask certain questions, and then when they realize it, they have to hush because they don't want to let out anything. But I realize what's happening. So you find that you have to take the medication to this place and then take them up to the Alexandria Hospital. This is madness. So when do they get back? And let us not forget that we are still without a public health bus/driver, because the last driver was sent home and they have not replaced that driver since. So what does that mean? I don't know how hard it is to find a driver for public health. What does it mean? That where there's a general store, for those who don't know, there's general storage for the supplies for public health. That is the health centers. And so where there's a general store, there's no designated person or vehicle to take these to the various centers. So what you need comes the late in some cases, and we have nurses who have to use their private vehicles. And these things should not be happening, Mr. Manners. These should not be happening. How hard is it to do this? And then sometimes they may use the mental health vehicle, but then that puts a strain on what mental health has to do. How are we prioritizing healthcare when something as simple and as basic as this is not happening? But they don't have no problem finding money to fund their trips and fund all these activities that they want to do. When have you ever heard of Concerned Citizens Movement having a fundraiser? But you see all kind of things happening with their logo. That's a story for another day. And so we need to open our eyes and recognize what is not happening in the area of healthcare and tell ourselves that this is ridiculous. This is ludicrous, and enough is enough. Also, I have some shocking information to share as it relates to education, Mr. Manners. Can you believe that we have children right here on the island of Nevis, who are being denied the ability to go to school? And if you think a lie, allow me to share some examples that I know about. Okay? Listen to me carefully. I recently learned of a child who is approximately 14 years old, thereabout. Don't have the exact age, but he's around that, who has been living in Nevis for some time and has not been enrolled in school. Granted, the child is not a Nevisian. The child came to Nevis from another island, another country. The child didn't come here on his or her own. The child has a parent here. The child had some unfortunate circumstances where the child was. One parent is no longer alive, and so the other parent who was here went and get the child, and I agree with that parent. Since the child has gotten here, and that child has been here for more than 2 years, that child has not been able to enroll in school. Now my thing is, whatever needs to be done, whatever is the reason, we need to work on getting this child in school. How we could have a 14-year-old child thereabout not going to school if it's a situation, and I say if, that the parent, for example, may not have the proper documentation, then the parent should not be here, because then that is the problem. The problem is the parent. Why are you punishing the child? And I'm not saying that means you must send the parent home. I'm saying you need to find out what is the crux of the matter and deal with it. How are we denying a child entry? Don't you know that these kinds of things lead to antisocial behavior? So tell me what that child is supposed to sit at home and do all day, every day. What is that child to sit at home and do all day, every day? And then when they start getting into trouble and being delinquent and finding places to rob and doing all manner of evil, we blame the parents. But what are we doing as a government? We are failing our children. I'm not done yet. That's a child who was not born on the island of Nevis. But I maintain children are children. And that child should not be denied the ability to go to school because we allow the child to live here on Nevis, Mr. Manners. If there is something wrong with him living on Nevis, then why have him living on Nevis? Don't have him living here and don't allow him to function like a normal child. That is not fair. That is not fair. And for those of you who are from other countries and you've made Nevis your home and you go up and down and you allow this government to play politics with you, you better wake up, because this is what is happening. Let me go further. There is a child that I know who was born here on the island of Nevis, went to preschool here on the island of Nevis, then graduated preschool and went overseas with one of his parents because the parents has rights overseas. The child has since come back to live with another parent here on the island of Nevis. Okay, so the other parent is there and one is here. The child has come back. Remember, I told you the child graduated preschool already. And the child can't get into school. Where does the child go right now? The child is 6 years old, making 7 this year. The child is at a preschool. And he's not even properly enrolled. It's a preschool teacher feels sorry for the child and says, man, send him and I'll teach him. Why is that child not able to go to school here in Nevis? This is nonsense. Nonsense. And some of the excuses I am told we are getting is stuff like, oh, well, he didn't start in September. So what? So what? If it's a situation where you feel the need to repeat the child, then repeat the child. Suggest that. But you are telling me that a child was born here on the island of Nevis, completed his preschool education, went abroad, come back and can't get into our school system? Madness. Who died and left education to you all up there? You all are out of place and out of order. Then let me go further. Another child was enrolled in the school system here on Nevis. Up to last year, attended school here on Nevis. Nobody deregistered or unregistered the child, Mr. Manners. The child was enrolled here and went to school here and has been going to school here up to when the term ends, July of last year. The parent bought books, everything for the child in September. But something happened and the child had to go overseas for 1 term. So nobody unregistered or deregistered the child, you know. The child had to go overseas for 1 term. That child came back on island and has been sitting at home for an entire term because this government that Mark Brantley, Eric Evelyn, Spencer No Name Brand, Janelle Nisbet, Troy Liebert, and all of the others who support them are part of, sit down and allow this to happen. That child has been sitting home for an entire term, can't go to school. Then, up to when school was supposed to start this last term, so that was the Easter term, up to when school was supposed to start this last term, the child still had not gotten any confirmation up to the day before if the child would be able to go to school. Mm-hmm. Well, with no water in my mouth, I tell the parent, carry your child to school and rest some down, go sit down. This is nonsense. What is the rationale? Why are we treating our people like this? Why are we operating like this? Why are we listen, don't you realize what we are doing? We are denying children access to education. We are denying children access to education. The children that we say are our future. Guys, this can't be right. This can't be right. Mr. Manners isn't here. Said, this is what I know. This is what I know. I tell you, this thing brought tears to my eyes when I realized what is going on. It can't be right. I wouldn't want it for me. So if a child gets sick and has to go overseas for medical attention and the child come back, you're not going to take them? So for whatever reason, a child went overseas to go to school. A child had to leave the island and the child come back. The child done been in the school system and we saying the child can't go to school. What craziness is this? And this makes sense to anybody? If you think alike, go and ask. Call me after the show. Additionally, Mr. Manners, on a lighter note, I'm just curious to know what has happened or what benefits the children who participated in the 2 bigger meets on the island of Nevis are getting. Interprimary was a month ago, and I am yet to hear the announcements of the top athletes, the Victor and Victrix Ladorum and the class champions. Well, what's the problem there? And how are they going to benefit? Same thing for the inter-high on the island of Nevis. How do we continue to incentivize the children? What do we do? What are we doing for them? Because you see, a lot of these children are quick on the track, but some of them are struggling in the classroom. What are we doing to bridge that gap? Because we want our children to go out there and be able to function. What are we doing? And I think these are some of the questions that we need to ask. Our children aren't just for running. We need to bridge that gap. Yes, everybody's not going to have 10 and 9 and 11 subjects, but we need to make sure that they're performing to their capacity at the best of their ability. And I don't think we're doing that. We are failing our children. Mr. Manners, one of the things I wanted to touch on this evening, and I'm not going to leave without touching on it, is this whole economic stability and finance.
Stability or instability? Which one is it?
Well, it should be economic stability, but you're right, it's economic instability on the island of Nevis. Because you see, I don't know how many of us realize, but our premier and this government, they are preparing to drop a bombshell on us. They are already setting up their narrative for when they want to do some serious cost cutting, because they continue to have quality underrun and cost overrun in all of their projects. Anything that they do, quality underrun, cost overrun. More money, less quality. And I am watching the play, and I maintain that they are setting up for a big whammy, Mr. Manners. They are setting up for a big whammy. So recently, I stumbled across an article that the information arm of the government produced. That's the Department of Information, or NTV for short. Okay? And this article quotes the Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Mark Brantley. And it's dated the 29th of April, and it's captioned or titled, Premier Brantley warns citizens to brace for impact of global economic instability. So in other words, he's telling us something big is going to happen. It's as a result of all that is happening globally, and he wants us to be careful. So just bear with me for a little bit. Through this article, he's saying, amid mounting global economic uncertainty driven primarily by policy shifts from the U.S. administration, Premier of Nevis and federal leader of the opposition, Honorable Mark Brantley, has issued a sobering call for national preparedness and strategic adaptation. Mr. Manners, a lot of words. You're better with words than I am.
Are you sure?
You're better, I know that. You're better with words than I am. And so that is a whole lot of fluff. That is just a fancy way of them saying, prepare yourself, brace yourself, something big is coming. Okay, it continues. Speaking at his monthly press conference on April 28th, Premier Brantley addressed the potential local implications of escalating geopolitical and trade instability, warning that the ripple effects are likely to impact cost of living, trade, logistics, and food security in St. Kitts and Nevis. Do I think he is lying? No. Do I know that this is possible? Yes. But what do I also know? That this is nothing new for the island of Nevis. You remember, long after the COVID-19 pandemic, we were still blaming COVID-19. But Nevis was hemorrhaging long before COVID-19. But it was almost as if COVID-19 came in as a saving grace for this administration. Can you imagine? They wanted something to blame. They wanted something to pin the instability on. And so they were happy to talk about COVID-19. And right now, they are happy to talk about the potential fallout based on all that is happening globally. And to quote him, it says here, I anticipate some difficulties ahead. I anticipate that there will be some real difficulties in terms of cost of living, Brantley stated. Disruption, instability invariably lead to higher prices and more difficulty. We must be prudent. We must be sensible about how we spend our money. This coming from the Minister of Finance and Premier, who has Nevis or who has contributed to Nevis being in insurmountable debt. Let me tell you what I mean. When I pulled up the 2025 budget estimate, so in other words, I'm referring to the budget that was presented at the end of 2024 for the year 2025. So that's the budget estimates for 2025. I realize that we have here the total outstanding foreign debt. Notice I said foreign debt. $25,600,055. That is what I'm seeing as recorded, and that is up to October 2024. Of that amount, I am seeing quite a few funded, or the guarantor is the federal government, but the Taiwan ICDF $900,000 loan is the guarantor is the Nevis Island Administration. Okay? So the total outstanding foreign debt is $25,600 and $25 million. I'm sorry, $600 and $600,055 according to the government as at October 2024. Stick with me. Stick with me. Now, that, as I mentioned, was foreign debt as reported, and if you think I'm lying, you can refer to your 2025 budget estimates. I am seeing here that the public sector disbursed outstanding debt as at October 24. You ready for this? Mm-hmm. $476,726,640. $476,726,640. And guess what? The upsetting thing about it, right? I'm not done yet. That, as I mentioned, is the NIA disbursed outstanding debt. Then we have the total public sector debt. $545,413,183. And this coming from the man who claims that we must spend our money wisely. We must be prudent. We must be sensible about how we spend our money. I'm still not done yet. What really pains me about this, Mr. Manners, if I were to go back to the public sector disbursed outstanding debt, is that the creditor, Mr. Manners, for most of these are our local financial institutions. I'm seeing here as reported by them, but you see, they don't take the time to go through all of this. Yes, they put it in the budget estimates because by law they are required to, but they don't talk at length about it because they know that will go over your head. They're not going to do all of that. So I am here to share it with you in the final minutes of your voice with the NRP. I'm seeing here that the Bank of Nevis, our own indigenous bank, a bank that was created to help the people of Nevis improve their quality of life. I'm seeing that we have treasury bills issue 91 days. The creditor is the Bank of Nevis, and we owe them $39,513,052. But I'm not done yet. Also owing to the Bank of Nevis, we have here a restructured loan at the Bank of Nevis, $39,094,086. I'm still not done yet, still with the Bank of Nevis. I'm not talking about the other banks, still with the Bank of Nevis. Restructured overdraft loan, it says $20 million. We have $16,197,374 from down from 20 million according to them. I'm still not done yet. Restructured overdraft $15 million loan. It says Bank of Nevis 2022. We have here $14,136,854. I'm not done yet. NIA Road Improvement Project of 2022. Bank of Nevis again. $10,412,106. And then we have Bank of Nevis again, The road improvement project of 2023, $2,307,155. Our own indigenous bank, and there are others. There are others. But we want to rape Bank of Nevis. We want to rape our Nevis Bank and the other banks. And this is a government that is saying that we must be prudent in our spending. Everybody should be upset about this. The government not pay where you are, but the government talking about us. The government is not paying what it owes. This is the level of debt that this government has the people of Nevis saying, and all of us have to pay it. This is the level of debt. And so you could imagine when we take over government, the situation that we'll face. But guess what? Rome was not built in a day. And we are not making any false promises. We are telling you what we can do in short term, how we will address what needs to be done. We have no problem saying, listen, this is the situation that we've met. And although there are a lot of things that we want to do, we have to pause some of them because we have to deal with this first. We will be transparent, Mr. Manners. And that is something that I think is totally lacking from this administration.
10 o'clock, smack down the middle. So I guess we're going to close out in a bit. Of course, it's going to be a busy week. Of course, your competition is roaring. So tell everybody about it again. And of course, the big activity on Sunday, Mother's Day.
As we wind down, I just want to thank everyone who has participated so far in the mother-child lookalike contest. Remember, it runs until the 9th of May. So you have an opportunity to still submit your photos if you think that you and your mother resemble, you think that you look alike, and have those posted and people vote on them for a chance to win a breakfast for two at the Four Seasons Resort.
Let's take this caller. Good evening, caller. You've called in at the bewitching hour, but go right ahead.
Having listened to my soon-to-be representative, JDK, I just wanted to remind the people of Nevis, the former Prime Minister of St. Kitts, that he's a bad spender. He was given over $500 million. I wonder whatever happened to that money. Because if we keep borrowing and money going into the Treasury and money going into the Inland Revenue Department, whatever happened to the money coming from St. Kitts? $500 million. The people of Nevis should then know, as the former Prime Minister says,
he's a bad spender.
Bad spender.
Indeed.
Goodbye.
Indeed. So spot on. Yes, and I want you to continue to purchase tickets for lunch and leisure. Don't wait until the last minute. If you live in Timbuktu and you want tickets, let me know and I'll get them to you. We want to have the Occasions Entertainment Center packed to capacity come Mother's Day, because our mothers deserve to be celebrated. And I am told that the fathers, the men, have stepped up this year and they want to ensure that they are front and center in terms of treating the mothers on Mother's Day. So make sure that you are at the Occasions Entertainment Center. We have tickets on sale for $100 per person, adult, and a child 15 years on under or under 15 years, they get a discounted rate. Do not wait until the last minute. You get food, you get entertainment, you leave with tokens. So I mean, it's money well spent, and we've tried as much as possible to keep the cost down, even with rising costs, Mr. Manners.
Well, thank you for that. And I'm reminding you and the other members of the NRP that in the month of June, there's something called Father's Day.
Yes.
And so I'll be advocating for them. I suggested sometime we can have another boat ride like we did, like the Gingerland group did. We had lots of fun there.
Good. Yeah.
But a very interesting week up and coming. JD, May 19th will mark 20 years since I lost my mom, May 19th, 2005.
Wow.
I feel her presence every day.
Wow.
And I know you have a very young and sprightly mother who recently celebrated a birthday, right? And so for all the ladies out there, we wish you all the best on Sunday. Mothers are so important in our society, and in our party. Let's end this way.